You are live. Late,
Boom.
late, says the White Rabbit, because we're a little bit late. But we had a game plan, son. Game plan.
Yep, because that's exactly what we do. We game plan somehow. I don't know. By game planning, we're also waiting for some people to jump in. Hardboiled entertainment. Oh, always a pleasure.
Early bird gets all the okay. Oh, all right, guys. So as you can see by the back, well, okay, guy, because there's only one.
Yeah,
I guess there's 9. It says 9.
Yeah, now we're getting some people dropping in a little bit.
There we go. I got my Martin Scorsese shirt.
Nice. I'm kicking it old school with the Man of Steel shirt. It's one of my faves. Yep, I said faves.
Got a couple people. Everybody, what's up? There we go. Anyway, so as you can see by the background, guys, we are going to talk about Infinite Crisis a little bit. It's a live stream about everything as always, but we'll talk about the Infinite Crisis that CW and the shitty Arrowverse pulled off. I'm going to try to be positive about this as much as possible, but geez.
We wanted to do this a little bit different. As most of you know, we typically have our specific style, and then we'll do live streams every once in a while. And in discussing it, we figured, hey, we might as well. We haven't done a live stream in a little bit, so I guess what better way to talk about Crisis on Infinite Earths than to do a live stream and see if maybe you guys can hijack this and put it on a better path. Because I do have some notes. I'm going to try to follow the notes as best as possible. And 8, okay.
You know what's funny is somebody did a clip earlier. I think Shadow Vessel tagged us in it and stuff. He only slams her face into the fireplace 3 times, so it wasn't even 4 times.
Yeah,
so that means there is director's cut where he gets 4. But god damn, does he slam the shit out of her face multiple times? We're slacking.
Yeah. Always.
Oh, rest in peace, Oliver.
Yeah, spoilers. Thanks, Nathan.
I guess I would actually, out of all the crappiness that there was, I kind of feel like the Oliver send-off was probably one of the biggest letdowns of all of it. It was so bad. It made no sense. It was so poorly written.
I wanted to talk about some positives, but I agree.
I don't know.
I feel like this show was victim of trying to have the epic moments way too many times. I really felt that there were so many pivotal, like, crying moments that people were like worried about something, that by the time Oliver died and he had his send-off, that it just seemed very lackluster. And okay, here's another one. I actually thought maybe he would come back. I knew that Stephen Amell was no longer going to play Green Arrow,
right?
But I was kind of expecting, I'm sure he'll come back, because there were so many moments of like, such and such died, such and such died, or we lost them, and all this stuff, that it took away from Oliver's death. I think. I don't know. All right. Random. Let's jump to Royal Rumble weekend. I've been watching some classic Royal Rumbles. A little bit behind on wrestling right now. All my time's been taken up on Glorious Crisis.
All right, Marcus, since you say Royal Rumble, curious, do you think Edge or CM Punk will make a return in the Rumble? Let us know. Because those are like the 2 heaviest rumored things I've been hearing right now, is that they both are. I don't think CM Punk is, but people are really sure on the Edge thing. They're so fucking positive.
Apparently he's in, where is it? Houston is where the Rumble is, I think. Apparently he's there, so who knows? I don't think CM Punk. I'm not holding my breath for CM Punk. Yeah. Which, if it does happen, I will be just genuinely shocked, but I really don't think that's going to happen.
So on the Infinite Crisis, the one thing I will stay positive about is that it was done in a very comic booky way in some sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of Easter eggs that were thrown into this, I can commend them for that, because in every possible aspect, on every possible, except for the current DC slate of movies, but every other form of DC entertainment over the past like 30 years had some kind of small mention in it for the most part. I mean, you had the Keaton thing, and like it was just, of course, the newspaper. I spent the night with I've been spent the night with Superman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was just like those small things like that. And then they had a brief glimpse at the basically the death of Superman comic book cover, you know, for the most part, for a brief moment. And I commend him for that. It was a good try. And
that's actually
Jesus.
Don't throw the butts in yet. we got to talk some of the pros. That was one of my notes as far as a pro was the Crisis intro. I thought was really cool. And you touched on it already, very comic booky. This reminded me a lot of the corny late 70s, early 80s, early to mid 80 type comic books that you read where you're just kind of like, what? You're scratching your head at some of the topics that a lot of the comic books discuss, or maybe the villains that they brought up when really the comic book industry was kind of struggling to find its footing, and they just came up with just some obnoxious things. That's what this kind of reminded me of. So in a positive light, I can somewhat appreciate that. I also like how they attempted to really tie in every Earth, and we'll get to the Ezra Miller cameo.
Let's just go to it now.
Well, they try to tie in everything. I listed Batman 89. They mentioned Titans, Batman 66, Earth 38, and then obviously they get into Ezra Miller. So they really tie in everything, and there's a lot of nods and winks and things like that, all the way to the very last episode where Brandon Routh, Superman, Kingdom Come Superman, does the Christopher Reeve fly-in. They had
Probably
so many
biggest waste of the movie, the whole thing. They
Brandon
advertise
Routh?
they advertise Kingdom Come Superman, and you get him for a little bit. And I guess you have to like this series, the CW thing, and I haven't really kept up with it. But the Lex Luthor and the Lois Lane are by far the two worst characters. I'm sorry. I usually don't like judging people's acting so much because there's no way in hell I could ever do it. But Jesus, those two need to just give up and try a different trade.
You're talking about the Lex Luthor for this?
Yeah.
The crossover? Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Lois Lane, completely agree. I actually liked this Luthor.
Oh, this Luthor was horrendous.
What is
one?
This?
He's like 4'5", and that was just obnoxious as hell. He's seriously a solid like 5 inches shorter than Supergirl.
Yeah, you can't go based off of that because Jesse Eisenberg is pretty short.
But Jesse Eisenberg is not supposed to be a physical threat. That's the whole point. I think Snyder was never going for a physical. He has like laser hands. Oh, I made compliment again. And he's like blasting her. And
there's some great moments.
And apparently, Ryan Choi motherfucker gets up way before Supergirl does, and he has to wake her after getting blasted. Like, it's so stupid. And they try to make him like a physical threat. Like when he walks up on.
Are we gonna get into the pros? That's
hold on, I'm getting there. But when he walks up on Tom Welling, like he's trying to be like, I'm gonna, and he tries to throw a punch, and he blocks him and just fucking nails him. They try to make him a menacing threat, like a physical threat, and he's not. He's a leprechaun,
somewhat.
And he's down, and he's got a high pitched voice, and he's got to be smart, and like they try to make him smart, but anyway, and they just have him take Routh's Superman spot. And I was just like, oh my God. So they replaced really on this show, your best actor. Because by far, Routh is the best actor they got on this whole thing.
Oh yeah, easily. And in
the
terms
most
of
potential
pros,
Superman, A Kingdom Come, which probably brought me here, because that was one of the biggest things. You eliminate that for this midget leprechaun Luthor. That was just obnoxious.
Saved by the Bell probably had better writing and acting. I'm just just throwing that out there. I actually thought the Lex Luthor was a kind of an in-between, a little bit of Jesse Eisenberg-esque and also trying to portray the Gene Hackman. But I agree with
they try to go animated. They try to go like the animated road.
No, because the animated would have had a physical appearance.
But that's what I mean. They tried to do that, but he has no physical.
I didn't see that at all.
They tried to make him smart and like condescending to other people.
No, that's Luthor.
That's kind of like the animated one is.
Yeah, I will agree with you. Kingdom Come Superman. I'm actually in the middle of reading that graphic novel now, and that is what I was looking forward to. Brandon Routh, easily their best actor, and kind of a missed opportunity. I really want to see Brandon Routh maybe try to play that character again if they can somehow do like
that
a
was a
one-off or
rumor.
something.
HBO Max giving him a Kingdom Come
I
series.
would love that. Tyler Hoechlin, whatever you want to say.
That guy is bad.
Awful.
He's
The
so
fact
bad.
that people applaud him
Dude,
for,
especially when he was standing next to Ralph. Like, Ralph is not even that big of a guy.
No. Well,
And
he got
big. He got decently big for this.
He did.
But this guy, oh my God, it's just like they don't understand what superheroes are. I feel like, because superheroes are supposed to have a physical presence, and a majority of these don't, not at all. And I guess that's just what happens when you get like whatever this is, TV show actors and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's really, really, really bad. Oh, anyway,
yeah, I think the fact that people applauded Tyler Hoechlin, whatever, for early on when he first had his cameo appearances in Supergirl. I think for what Brandon Routh did in Superman Returns, where he was mimicking Christopher Reeve, Tyler seemed like he is cosplaying Christopher Reeve and just like, hey, look, I kind of can play this.
The Ezra Miller moment. Is this cosplay?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Selfie, bro?
Yeah, exactly. Where Brandon Routh actually can pull off in Superman Returns, say what you want about that movie, but I actually feel like he can pull off playing a Superman. And then in this, the fact that he got even better, the fact that product placement, the fact that he got even bigger and better at playing Kingdom Come, I really hope that they decide to do something with that. Otherwise, it would be a complete waste.
Yeah, I told Victor it was possible. What do you guys think of that? I think it's just they know what some of the plans were for time travel and stuff, and Victor Stone, Cyborg, was heavily part of that. So yeah, I think someone asked earlier if they thought that the Ezra Miller thing was gonna lead up to something big for a multiverse, and I don't think it was, because when we did that episode about the Flash, like, it was pretty last minute thrown together. And I don't think there was really any big plans for it. I think they just wanted to expose Ezra Miller, like, not like badly, but like they just wanted to get him out there, get some feels for him as a star, and
test the market. Exactly.
Basically test the market, see how he felt, and obviously he started trending that day, and it was a big success. So it shows that people want to see that Flash. So hopefully the movie now will encompass what people want to see.
Yeah. Some of the other stuff that I threw in, I thought the Bruce in Earth 99, which was obviously played by Kevin Conroy, where he talks about he's at his wit's end. He broke his code. I'm like, hello? And does that sound familiar to anyone? It's just
spelled out for you now.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have to figure it out. He just fucking tells you now.
What are you talking about? He kills people. Yeah, of course. So I thought that was really cool. One of the other notes, obviously, I put Routh got in way better shape than Hoechlin. John Williams' score was briefly shown in Earth 96 with Routh, so I thought that was cool. Constantine, and some of these I kind of forgot a lot of what happened, and so I'm glad I put some notes. Constantine and Jonah Hex early on, I actually enjoyed. I thought that was kind of cool. Some of the even when it got to the point. Who was Lucifer, when Lucifer was in there as well, I actually enjoyed a little bit of the interaction between some of those characters. Yeah. And maybe it could have been better. They could have try to do a little bit more, but I thought they had decent dialogue. I thought actually probably out of everyone, Lucifer had some of the best dialogue in probably all 5. I think it was 5 episodes. So there were some aspects in there that I was prying, I was peeling it back and going, all right, what is good about this special? Because there's got to be something. Kevin Conroy also something he talks about in his cameo. He says life only makes sense if you force it to. Again, just spelling it out there for you. Great little use of that line. Perfect line. And then obviously got into the Ezra Flash cameo. Green Lantern Corps had a brief, like kind of through different Earths, and then the Brandon Routh with Reeves sign off. Those were the notes that I put in terms of pros for this show.
Wow.
I tried.
You did. You really did. To try. It was just everybody talks about how it's a shoestring budget and everything, and I get that. And the practical effects, yeah, they're really bad, but I can get past that for the most part. I can have an imagination, but it's like you can't get writers. You can't. The acting is just so bad. In the fact that it's a episodic series, and yet everything feels so freaking rushed. I mean, you have 5 hours of this story, and you couldn't make it longer, and it just everything was so rushed. Like the first half of the episode 4, where Flash just apparently running through dimensions that I didn't think were there anymore, because I thought that thing wiped out every single thing in the universe and all the universes for the most part. So I don't know what the fuck he's running to. I guess the Speed Force just magically, because he's running back in time. So I guess he's going back to the points where they are to get people and stuff. So I guess it's there. I don't. They just made him like traveling through time like a fucking jog.
Yeah.
Like when it really should be something that takes something to build to, and it doesn't. He just brisk walk through it all.
I don't know about you. I know I'm not the most intelligent person, but there was some of this that I had a hard time figuring out, like what the hell they were trying to do. There was a lot of just convoluted story plots, and to me, it was kind of a mess in terms of actually trying to follow the 5 hours. They could have made it so simplistic. And again, I think when you get into like, oh no, Barry he's trapped and now he has to do this, and they were trying for so many epic moments that by the end of it you're just kind of like numb to it all. And I think that's where the death of Oliver kind of again fell flat. It was incredibly hard just to stay like into it, and it seemed like overacting a little bit. And I get it, it's TV show. I was really into watching this. The biggest reason was for the cameos, for the cool appearances, and maybe how they were going to tie it all in together. That was mainly what I was watching it for. Absolutely agree. They wasted Tom Welling. I thought he was going to have at least a little bit more, but they really tried to focus on, which I guess for good or for bad, they try to focus on their main characters. So they stuck to their, Batwoman and Supergirl and Flash and Green Arrow and kind of all of those people. They stuck to and kind of pushed everyone else to the side. And I think that's probably what I was not expecting, and also what I would not have preferred. But, maybe I'm not their target audience.
I never understood the Ryan Choi thing. Like, they got Adam, but they already have an Adam, and he's just there to be there. Like, he's fighting off those shadow specter things with his fist and yelling at them. And it's just like really stupid. Like, I just don't even know. It's like they just wanted to have him there for some reason, and they didn't know what to do with him because he doesn't know what he's doing. And it was just, goddamn, that thing was so badly done.
Yeah. Something that I had heard is with Tyler's Superman spinoff is Dean Cain, when he was doing Lois and Clark, they wanted to get into how Lois and Clark were going to develop a family. They were going to have kids, maybe have a super kid, and how that was going to continue on. And apparently, and this is just rumor, Tyler's spinoff is supposed to be the continuation almost of Lois and Clark. So they will Lois.
But he has a kid.
What's that?
But he has a kid.
Who does?
Tyler. That was the first episode. They have a little baby.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah. So that's probably some of the start of it. So they have a kid, and basically, like in the Lois and Clark series, that's them kind of getting together. They get married, blah blah blah. This, they will already be together. So obviously, I completely forgot about that. They had a kid in this. So they apparently, that's kind of the continuation of the Lois and Clark series, which to me doesn't seem all that interesting.
Oh yeah, that's right. 2 kids now. He's all surprised by that.
What? I didn't get it. Over my head.
2 kids now, mad. And remember at the end of the last episode,
no,
she's telling him you got to go talk to the boys, and he's like, boys, because it's plural.
Oh man.
Anyway,
Yeah.
and I also find the irony of it kind of funny too. Anyway, never mind.
That's what I thought you were saying. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyways, yeah. Going back to the Michael Rosenbaum comment, absolutely. I agree. I really wish he would have reprised his role.
Yeah, but I see why he didn't.
Yeah. Apparently, and I had heard this as well. Someone let's see if I can find the comment. Yep. That he was going to join the crossover.
I've never seen the article. He said it, or his tweet. He had a whole spelled out why he didn't do it.
Yeah. And I can see why. He didn't know what he was going to do. He didn't know how he was going to be incorporated. They obviously already have a Lex. So I think at most he was going to just be Tom Welling. And it's all about the comments.
Yeah. So, yeah, Infinite Crisis sucked. My baby daddy. For $5, I'll be anybody's daddy. If you just want a little bit of support, you can play with whatever you want. I have nothing here. I have no toys. Oh,
yeah, this is a great point. I forgot about that. That Batman had captured the Joker, and then apparently in a different world he kills the Joker. So it just depends.
Yeah, it's infinite worlds.
Yep. Well, thanks for watching, guys. What else? Yeah, that's
it.
kind of
just wrap it. It sucked. Yeah, it was an ambitious idea. It's an ambitious idea, and I commend them for at least trying to pull it off. And there was some aspects that they had that would have made it epic, but the fact that the constraints of the budget and apparently the constraints of having anybody that can write a decent line of dialogue for the most part is just gonna make those type of I love $2. I said $5 to be your daddy. No, what's up, guys? What I miss? You missed us bitching about Infinite Crisis and trying to find pros that happen in the CW verse, and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a good try. I guess I give him an A for effort for that. But it was just
for the $2.
Thank you, sir, Dan of Steel.
Appreciate it.
Are we making any jail posters? I made my one.
It was glorious.
And then I made another one because I was just testing out this new app I had to see how everything looked. But so I made the other one for fun with Jason Momoa and stuff like that. But no, we don't really have the. I don't have the skills for that shit.
To be honest, I would take a stab at it, but I'm very, very like unpracticed, I would say, in Adobe Photoshop. I used to do it a ton, and I even pieced together at one point, and this was back before people hated him or liked him, but I pieced together a Colin Kaepernick thing for one of my previous jobs, and it was kind of him transforming from his college days to
Shane
his 49er
used to work
days.
with Colin Kaepernick. That's our one.
I did, right, yeah. Don't shoot me, but yeah. So that I was proud of, and I think if I was still in practice and maybe kind of more familiar with the latest version of Adobe Photoshop, maybe I'd take a stab at it. But I also just don't have the time. And who knows? Some of the posters that I've been seeing all over Twitter are way better than anything that I could even do. So.
Some of them are bad. Some of them are really bad.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay. I've seen a couple that are really bad. But my favorite one...
You should have brought him up, put people on blast.
But my favorite one was the guy that used Stephen Colbert's Screen Rant article picture.
My gosh.
That was awesome. If nobody saw that, somebody
like, my watermark
a Screen Rant article picture. It even still had the freaking watermark in the bottom.
So great.
And they submitted it. It was one of the funniest goddamn things I've ever seen. I was hoping they ended up deleting it and eliminating that guy, but I was really hoping he would have placed. It would have been so funny. I would have laughed so hard.
Art. It was very early entry too, from what I remember.
Yeah. Well, real quick, I wanted to talk about. I know you clicked on. Oh, okay, we can do this one real quick.
Oh, I just wanted to say, yeah, she's smoking hot. I'll take her in anything.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
So I don't know if you followed this or not, but I followed it. Colin Trevorrow's original script for Star Wars Episode 9. So I did. I listened to the what is that guy? The guy that gets stuck with Cameo all the time. I forget his name. at this point right now. It's escaping me. But he apparently got a hold of the script, but he won't say he got a hold of the script anyway, and he read it out, and I listened to it for the most part, and it sounds interesting. It sounds like it would have been a solid second. It would have been a solid episode 8. It would have been a fantastic, Robert Meyer Burnett. Thank you very much. Yeah, he would have been a solid episode 8. I can see at a point though, because to me, I guess maybe in the Rise of Skywalker, when it comes to Rise of Skywalker, it had such an epic, it at least was trying anyway, to be super epic, like the biggest conclusion of all time. And the Duel of Fates, to me, it sounded more like it didn't really have that epic ending, in my opinion, to really round out the Skywalker series for the most part.
So that's why you're saying that it would be a good episode.
It would have been a great episode 8 because it had like,
and then you still have one more afterwards.
Yeah, you have one more to really just wrap that thing up, the big conclusion, because it had like Kylo Ren going off, and he's kind of still doing this thing for the Sith holocron, but he goes on like Mustafar, and he goes to Vader's old base, and he gets like this hologram of Palpatine and stuff like that. Like Palpatine's in it, but he's only a hologram, and it becomes this thing, and it becomes this whole thing of him trying to figure out the Sith and get it. And then they introduce another Sith Lord and stuff like that, a whole new one that we've never heard of and stuff. I can't remember, Tron Vaughn or something like that. So it was introducing this whole other Sith Lord in it as well, so I thought it was pretty solid for the most part, but to me, it didn't have that big epic ending that I think they were looking for. But they did take elements from it for sure. There was definitely this group of people went on a fetch quest to go do this and stuff like that. There just might have been a little bit more witty banter, a little bit better written dialogue for the most part. Rey, and then there's the concept art that just came out. Rey's wearing a black. She's wearing a black because she's really fighting with being a Sith or not, and stuff like that, or turning to the dark side and stuff like that. It was great, but I just think it would have been a solid episode 8, not an episode 9. It needed something, but it was probably an early draft, and I think it just needed something to pick it up at the end to make that big epic feel. Because for the most part anyway, I just didn't think it would have ended the saga in a very satisfying way.
After kind of sticking on some of the Star Wars stuff, the Last
Release
Jedi.
the AJ cut or JJ cut. AJ. I was thinking Abrams.
The Last Jedi, I realized how much that jacked up. And some of it I liked, some of it I didn't, but how it really just ruins the basically the final Skywalker trilogy. I started to realize, because then you, once you get to Rise of Skywalker, they were trying so hard to buy everything back. And even talking to some people who are much more hardcore Star Wars fans than I am, that really effed them. And I feel like if they would have done something else, they could have then even had a more epic final episode 9.
Yeah, AJ.
Exactly. AJ Styles.
Yeah, the course correction and also ignoring a lot from the episode 8 was a big thing. And they tried to like build this up, and I think this would have been a good thing. And they would have introduced like the original Sith Lord, because it was supposed to be the Sith that taught Palpatine and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like a bug monster or some shit like that.
That would have been cool.
So it was just a whole different thing, and it was a whole different level. And apparently, it was like, Kylo Ren was on his own journey trying to figure out himself. And I thought that was kind of cool, other than coming back to Rey and it all just circling around Rey and just some lame ass. Yeah. Like Kylo Ren killed her parents. Like her parents really were nothing or something like that. And
I don't even know
later on that her parent, like Kylo Ren, killed him at some point. But they kept they had the stormtroopers that kind of de facto leave and stuff like that. They had that in there, but it was more prominent. Again, it was just the same thing, and except Rose Tico, Rose was much more part of the script than she was in obviously Rise of Skywalker. Hell, anything had more screen time than Rose and Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. This is kind of what I was touching on earlier, is that with Rian Johnson, if they decided to continue what he was doing in episode 9, then I think, yeah, it makes sense. But also some of the stuff that he did about like Rey's parents not meaning anything, that just seemed to, I don't know, that you're anchoring down the entire saga and even your final trilogy that you're trying to do by making some of those.
Uh-oh. I think we've lost Shane. Okay, well, Shane's frozen, or am I frozen? Okay.
Okay, I think we're back. That was weird.
Yeah, you were stuck like this.
We lost both of us for a second there. That's very odd. Not good. Shane's stroke. All right, am I good now? Maybe I should kick all my kids off the internet. But yeah, I think unfortunately when you take those chances and then they decide to completely put the kibosh on everything that you decided to do, now episode 8 is a giant waste. And you also took some risks that for a lot of hardcore Star Wars fans were a little pushing it a little too much. They would have almost, from what I've gathered and people I've talked to, would have preferred it being a little bit more predictable.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, episode 8 was just, man. I get what they were trying to do. I get what they were trying to do, but I just don't think anybody cares.
All right, so I wanted to talk about this a little bit. I saw Hardboiled, I think, posted this twice. I hope whatever J.J. Abrams does is solid, and I'm looking forward to. As long as he stays away from
Superman.
Yeah,
I don't think I want him near Superman.
Well, unfortunately, I don't know who else I would want aside from Snyder, which we know that's probably not happening. So, depending on who takes
Christopher McQuarrie, he tried to get Warner Brothers, and I would be interested in him. The guy that did Fallout, Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
I mean, he's got an eye for that stuff. I think there's plenty of people out there that can do it. It's just not JJ. He's too safe.
Okay, well then, thoughts on Justice League Dark? Do you think JJ's too safe for? We haven't really talked about this.
I think Scott Derrickson from Doctor Strange. They should. What?
Yeah. Hey, no kidding.
Fucking WB loves sloppy seconds. Might as well just do it. They love diving in there after that. So have him. I was thinking either Dr. Fate or Justice League Dark. I thought would be pretty sweet. They should just have him come in or let him do a Justice League Dark. Screw it, because that one you can make more realistically an R-rated movie, and let him do it. Let him do all the weird shit that he wanted to do in Doctor Strange, but just apply it to like Constantine or Swamp Thing or Zatanna and stuff like that, and just let him go nuts.
Yeah, that would have been
Guy Ritchie from Man of Steel 2. Hell yeah. I just watched The Gentleman. I have no idea why he did Aladdin. Like, I just don't. That must have just been a truckload of money. But why would Disney want Guy Ritchie for Aladdin? That's the other thing. It just made no sense. But I just watched The Gentleman, and it was. But I just watched The Gentleman. Man, that movie is fantastic, and it's totally Guy Ritchie. It's just like it's it has that kind of feel like Snatch, and other Guy Ritchie movies, and it just felt great. And I just don't I walked out of that. I'm like, man, you see that movie, and you're like, why did he even come close to? Why would he even look at an Aladdin script? Just so weird. Just a weird thing. I feel like there's a story there somewhere, and no one cares because it's Disney.
I think with some of the stuff that Abrams did in episode 9, I could see maybe incorporating. I think the camera work would be pretty sweet.
He's definitely got an epic feel for visual.
Yeah,
shit. I give him that for sure.
Yeah, so it would all come down to the script, obviously, and how much they stick to Man of Steel versus Christopher Reeve's version. If they want to push it too far and have a bunch of nods and winks at the camera like Superman Returns, then I think no matter who takes it on, it could be any director, and you're up shit creek at that point.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro wanted to do Justice League Dark. Yeah, I remember that, and I thought that'd be a great I thought that'd be an excellent choice for Justice League Dark. I think there's a lot of possibilities. DC just needs to get their head out of their ass. So, yeah, Chris Terrio, I don't think is ever going to work for anybody ever again. He's so mad about everybody. We're still got to wait because he's just waiting for the moment to start shitting on WB about his Justice League script. He just said, just wait until after Skywalker, and we'll talk about this later on. So he's just chomping at the bit to get out there and start talking shit. And he probably doesn't want to work in Disney. He's probably going to go back to doing smaller movies now. He's probably tired of this blockbuster shit because a lot of his movies get fucked with.
Doesn't it seem like that's what everyone is doing? Let's just go to Netflix.
Go to Netflix. Everybody's going to Netflix. I didn't even realize that Jason Momoa had a movie on Netflix too. It's called like Frontier or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that.
I completely forgot about that.
He's on there, and obviously Affleck, Snyder. A lot of people are just going there. Man, Netflix gets all these people, but man, I just don't know if they have the money to keep that type of shit up.
Oh man, I forgot Guy Ritchie did Man from U.N.C.L.E. I enjoyed that movie.
Yeah,
I really did. And obviously I like Henry Cavill, so.
Gentleman feels like Snatch.
Gender fluid. No kidding. That's something I did not know.
Yeah, I didn't know either. Is it gonna have Eddie Murphy back? I assume so because it's 4. So
yeah, they're just redoing everything at this point. Let's just make a sequel. I did see possible return for hit my mic. Possible return for The Mask. Jim Carrey might
Jim Carrey doing
that role. I'm like, yeah, I'll see it. You'll get my money.
Thoughts on The Witcher?
We were both in the same vein. I freaking love this show, and I'm bummed that it's going to take all of 2020 and then as far as I know, early 2021 before we'll actually see. I prefer Three Ninjas Kick Back. I'm just saying the sequel.
Chris Farley's son.
But with The Witcher, now I also benefited a little bit, so I'll let Matt go after me. But
thank you.
You're welcome. I'm a gentleman. But I benefited a little bit because my wife plays the games. I want to say there's 3 of them, and she's played 2. The more recent ones. She's also been reading the books. So she knew and could answer any question. And she started throwing out minor things that were not spoilers, but it kind of helped me keep up with the route that the show itself was going. So for a lot of people, when I was talking to coworkers and whomever else, and they were having a hard time like picking up like, okay, how are these people supposed to be linked together? And basically one of the big spoilers is you're at different timelines at an early part of the show, and then eventually it all kind of comes together. And because my wife saw that and noticed it very early on, I want to say episode 2 maybe, that kind of helped us understand it. And then once everyone finally knows, okay, it's in different timelines and now we're all together, then it makes a little bit more sense. But that let me enjoy the show so much more. And I know for a lot of other people, they struggled. Some of my coworkers were even comparing it to Game of Thrones and didn't like it for that. But for me, I loved it. I'm excited for season 2.
Yeah, I don't know anything about The Witcher. I never played the game, never read the books. So watching it was kind of odd. And I've never seen Game of Thrones, but I have kind of watched a season and a half now of Game of Thrones. So I can kind of get a little bit for the most part of what their people are comparing it to anyway. And yeah, it's very Game of Thrones like. I actually think Game of Thrones has a better production value looking at it. So I think it actually looked a lot better. Game of Thrones did anyway. But yeah, you get that feel for sure from that series. It's really hard not to when you watch them both. But I kind of like The Witcher. Like we were, my girlfriend and I both same boat. Didn't know anything about it in any way. And it took it to a point till we got to about episode 3 when you start catching on and everything starts coming together a little bit. So it takes patience for the most part. It does get very confusing in the beginning, but it just takes a little bit of patience. And I liked it for the most part. I think Cavill did fairly good for that position. His little grunts and stuff I thought were odd. It kind of seemed like he was doing an impersonation of Bale's Batman voice sometimes, like the throat cancer voice. So that was a little off every once in a while, trying to see him try to do this this voice.
That voice was a little jarring early on. Like as soon as, you know, you first start hearing him talk, and I asked my wife, is that how he is in the games? And she said, yeah. So I'm assuming that's where he also played the games and read the books. So that's probably where he was like, okay, I'll just take that and kind of roll with it that way. So it's a little consistent for a lot of people who played the games or read the books. I think there's a lot of fan service for those fans.
The ultimate Marvel question: should you have solo films or just introduce them all at once? I think Justice League Dark can be introduced in one take for the most part. It depends also which characters you have. I think obviously Swamp Thing, I think it's not mainstream.
Holy shit.
But people know of Swamp Thing. And
thank you so much.
Oh shit.
That's awesome. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much. And then Swamp Thing, Constantine, and Zatanna, maybe not Zatanna so much. Those are fairly known characters. Obviously, we have the Keanu Reeves movie to fall back on when it comes to Constantine. Hey,
that's a fantastic movie.
It's underrated as hell to me.
Yeah, absolutely. When Matt and I did a retro review, I want to say, on Constantine,
and we even talked about it with our buddy Nick too.
Yeah,
I think it has one of the best endings to a comic book movie of all time.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Smart. What the fuck,
dude? What?
Oh, dude.
We both keep clicking on it. Wow. Well, thank you very much. Wow, we really appreciate that.
Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, that helps tremendously. You have no idea. We are so low budget. That helps us a ton. So thank you very much. You just paid for StreamYard.
But it definitely depends on the characters. It depends on the characters. Depends which ones you bring in for the most part. I think at least some of them, for the most part, are pretty recognizable. I mean, you could kick it off with a Constantine movie, since that's probably the easiest character to start a universe like that around. That might be the easiest way to do it for the most part, and then go from there, and then go introduce your Justice League Dark movie with Swamp Thing and others and Zatanna. But I think you could do it in one clean shot.
I'll kind of quickly talk about my experience with Batman vs Superman, and it'll play into this a little bit. So I apologize if you've already heard this. It is Valentine's Day coming up. But when I went to see Batman vs Superman, I saw it with a bunch of people who were not comic book fans. They were not comic book movie fans. And one of the coolest things when we were leaving is their confusion and my knowledge of comic books and a lot of the stuff that I knew what was happening. And with that, they did have a lot of excitement asking the questions. Well, who is this? And, you know, it talked about Doomsday, Lex Luthor, Batman, this version of Batman, the armor suit, all this stuff. And these people that I went with they had no idea. Yeah. With Justice League Dark, something that I think would be really cool is if they start with a team up, and then you have individual movies after that. Because when you introduce these characters and people want to know more, let's get it on.
I'm more of a Barry White guy.
But I think
Keith Sweat.
Keith Sweat. There we go.
Keith Sweat.
I think that would be a really cool and different way to do it. You start with the team up, get people intrigued in the character. Look at Deadpool, for example, a very less commonly known superhero. And then all of a sudden now everyone seems to know about Deadpool. I think you can do the same thing. Excuse me. I think you can do the same thing with that type of, you introduce the Justice League Dark characters, have the team up, get people interested in it, and then have the solo spin off of that. Kind of almost what Snyder was doing a little bit. You have the Batman vs Superman, and then Wonder Woman.
Well, you could even have a 5-film series of Justice League Dark. Like, I think that's a great template. Like, I know people didn't think that it was, but I thought for the most part it was a great template idea. Make it like a comic serial, and just have them go 5 movies, sign everybody up in the beginning, give everybody a 5-movie deal, and then call it good after that. You have all the characters, you build it up. That's 10 years of movies right there. And so, and also on that question I had up there, I really actually enjoyed the Matt Ryan Constantine a lot. Out of all those TV shows that they had, the Arrowverse, Flash, all those, Supergirl, my girlfriend and I actually liked the Constantine show the most, and that's the one that got canceled. So he pops up every once in a while on Legends,
figure. Yeah.
And then he was also in this crossover, so it just sucks.
Yeah, and he had some of the best interactions and best lines, and it's fantastic. I didn't know that that was the same director with Catching Fire and I Am Legend. Those are also fantastic.
Except for the dog death. German Shepherd dying. I don't do
that. Fantastic reference. And if you haven't, I'm going to randomly plug Kevin Hart's latest stand-up on Netflix. Watch it. To me, I thought it was fantastic.
Oh, is that what this is from?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bank account set up. Yeah. So his latest one, some of his other stuff is okay, but his latest one, his early stuff was fantastic. And this quote is from some of his early specials.
George Miller's Justice League would have introduced, more Justice League Mortals. Yeah. I mean, we did a breakdown of that. Justice League Mortals was okay. I thought how they introduced everybody was a little odd, and how everybody lost their powers because they did the Tower of Babel storyline. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people bank on that, like it was like going to be a great Justice League movie, but it was just really hard for me to picture. Especially, I think, what is it? Martian Manhunter gets sick from like a bumblebee or something that was in a jar or something, or it was like on a toothbrush or some shit. Like there were some things that needed to be ironed out. That writer's strike definitely didn't help at all. The writer's strike, obviously, the tax problems in Australia, all that just didn't add up.
I can't remember. There was his name is escaping me right now, but there was another guy that and maybe someone in the comments might know, but there was another guy who talked about his Justice League and how he would do it, and he did the same exact thing. And it's basically him. He's a pretty well-known writer. I think he had some controversy a couple of years ago as well, but he sits in a room and talks about how his entire Justice League would go, and then you would have spinoffs after that. And he jumped ahead, and a lot of it was the death of Superman that he incorporated, and a whole lot of like different things, but you basically already know there's no origin movies, nothing. There's no origin to any of these characters, and it shows up and there's already a battle at the very beginning.
Very established. And I think Batman's paranoid in this. Even though Armie Hammer wasn't that old, he was probably kind of supposed to be playing in like an older Batman that was paranoid, that needed like mechanized prosthetics to move around, similar to like Dark Knight Rises when he puts the pneumatic or whatever the hell that was knee brace on and shit. So it's very similar. Do you guys think 214 Snyder Cut announcement after Snyder reveals the winner of the poster contest? At this point, I don't think anybody should try to assume when it's going to be announced, because right now all that ever does is just try. Somebody had this like list. I saw this list somewhere, like all the times people thought it was going to be announced, and it was like this long list. It's just a long list, and it was all crossed off. Like, didn't happen here, didn't happen here, didn't happen here. All this hype that people put stuff through. Just let it. Just know that at this point, after November 17th, the spike that happened then, WB and AT&T are paying attention, especially AT&T. And I think right now what we're experiencing is what we thought was going to be the most difficult part, which is the negotiations. And because of all the all the legal stuff, all these actors that got cut, and the changing of the credits, all this stuff, and then whatever Snyder needs to finish, if he wants to add scenes or change a Steppenwolf, whatever he wants to do, if they give it to him or not, there's tons of negotiations going on right now. And I think that's what people should just be patient and just enjoy these events like the poster event. Do what you can if you have skill. I would just not bank on an announcement on 214. Don't bank on an announcement. I think it'll happen. Announcement, at least anyway, probably maybe will happen this year. But as we've always talked about on the show, the negotiations are easily going to be the hardest part of this because of the crap that they're going to have to go through.
I'm glad you answered that question. That was much better put than I think I would have. But yeah, just to reiterate, I think I've seen a lot of people on social media.
You spelled it wrong.
The Snyder Cut. That's what it's supposed to be. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter and I've seen a lot of people on Twitter and different social media as each of these, whatever it is, a San Diego Comic-Con, an anniversary event, something that people think that it's leading up to, that I've seen a lot of people get angry when it's not released. And to me, I think you just have to stay patient. As Matt said, know that something, you don't want to show the quote. There you go.
I'm trying.
Know that something is happening in the background and just be patient. And if it comes, it comes. If not, then, we'll continue to wait. Exactly.
Yeah.
Boom. Bow in the load. Also, my pillow's right there. Oh, and yeah, actually. Oh, hold on. Right there. There's the other
you got
one.
Two.
I got two.
Off.
Yep.
Yeah, see, he would have been 23, but I swear, if I remember the script right, he was supposed to be like a paranoid older Batman that's been like doing all this research on all these, because it's based off the Tower of Babel, the comic. So you have to study all these people, understand their weaknesses, their mentality, and what their characteristics are. So that's kind of what it's supposed to be. And it had Maxwell Lord in it and all that stuff. But he was only 23, so it's just this kind of weird thing. And I remember like he even talks about it. The costume had like pistons on it, cybernetics and stuff like that. And it was, so he was supposed to like play this like older Batman. It was really weird. They did the opposite. Instead of like having an older guy try to play a younger one, they had a younger guy trying to play an older Batman.
Right.
Very well. You need a pillow? There's a pillow right here for you, buddy. Glenn Close Club could be watching. What the fuck is the Glenn Close Club? The actress?
that also was the first thing that came to my mind.
Oh no. How will we ever? Yeah, I heard about that. I heard about some of those series. A lot of things are getting canceled. Disney's completely, out of all the everybody hyping up how great their plans were so far and how much they've done planning so well. Now all these Star Wars series, a lot of other things they had planned for Disney Plus, they've been scrapping.
It's so weird. It's so odd. Like that is, it makes you wonder about a lot of their MCU stuff. That they just throw crap out the wall. We've used Thor Ragnarok as an example before, where the logo was one thing and then it changed to something else. So behind the scenes they're changing things, but now it seems like information is so accessible for people that when about a series or a movie or whatever it is, a special, then and they're pulling the plug on it. Now all of a sudden the tune's changed a little bit. That maybe Disney isn't as, they don't plan as much as what people think. It's kind of funny.
And
sorry,
it gets
just
quiet.
reading through. Yeah, reading through some of the comments.
Yeah, I think we retweeted it for the most part. Yeah, it shows them running over parademons and shit and shooting the fuck out of them. A lot of the stunt coordinator guys are coming out with a bunch of stuff. Well, actually, a lot of stuff. It turns out a lot of that stuff's been floating around on the internet for a little bit. I know some of those things were like from 2018. Some of the stuff that people were reposting, they're just now finding it. Like, I think people could grossly underestimate how much stuff has just been floating around on the internet for so long that we never seen. Like just recently, like all those Suicide Squad concept arts that just came out, where that guy just has them on his page, one of the concept artists. And he has all his other projects he's ever done. He's just got this whole line of concept art for Suicide Squad. And like no one ever found that until just now.
No one went digging for it.
Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, man, that's fantastic. Oh, Marcus must know.
Yeah, I hope he does. You know, the thing is about the Disney movies, have you seen that picture of man, he's a Captain Marvel or not Captain Marvel, Captain America knockoff. He's like called the Agent or something like that.
Oh man.
And I was like looking at that costume. Horrible. I'm like, holy shit! I thought they were putting movie style budget into this.
Yeah,
like maybe it's going to get touched up later on in CGI because I noticed that Marvel started doing these things to make, I guess, the actors more comfortable. The like Spider-Man, Black Panther, a lot of them, the costumes. If you look behind the scenes,
Captain Marvel, yeah,
it's really loose. But then later on, they can just tighten up all those creases and everything and make it look more form fitting. Maybe they'll do that. But that guy looks like a goofball. It looks terrible.
Yeah, it looks awful.
hopefully that gets some CGI upgrades later on. Because if that's how he's going to be presented throughout the show, holy fuck, they're running into CW territory right there.
Right.
And no one's going to buy your fucking shitty service for that.
I feel like this was the case in terms of Feige not considering any of the Marvel TV shows canon. I feel like this was the case before, but now with Disney Plus, it's supposed to change the way that they're doing things. That, as from what I've understood, that you actually will have to have the Disney Plus to keep up with everything that's going on in the whole MCU. That they are going to, again, to basically suck in and make you spend money on their service. Interesting. So, but I think that's from what I have heard is that they were supposed to do is they will release things on the service itself and then release something in the movies or in the theater. And if you are not keeping up on Disney Plus, then you will be completely lost. And that's their angle at going, hey, see, in order for you to keep up with all this, you have to buy the Disney Plus service. I could be totally wrong on that, but that's just from what I've read and heard and some of the stuff floating around.
I just love I really paid attention to the trailer. I saw the trailer when it came out originally, and I just saw The Gentleman, so I saw it on the big screen and stuff like that. And it looks epic. And I don't know what it's supposed to be at this point. I don't know what they're going to do with it after this, because I'm pretty sure this is Daniel Craig's last one. So we'll see what happens. But I just like that whoop time to time. Oh, did we both click on it?
Did you? I think we did. Great fans think alike. Yeah, I'd be good with that. So someone should.
Oh, specific comments getting any attention must have. Well, what are you talking about? I don't know. I just go for what I think is I can read. Oh, okay. Apparently, okay, fine. Here you go. Apparently, Jim Lee was instrumental in getting Ezra Miller to cameo. Have it. I mean, that's what some people were saying, but the Variety article had that straight from what was that guy's name? Something Routh or whatever it was, and to Mark Guggenheim or whatever. I mean, it could be Jim Lee instructing him to be like, "Hey, put Ezra in there. We need to get him in there." I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, they need to do it. It's an executive decision. They need to get him out there, exposure, and start building up some hype for that damn movie. Because they've gone through so many directors, so much crap. They need to get their shit together.
Sorry, I struggled to keep up with some of these comments. So if we jump past something, that's probably why.
Oh, yeah.
Even though we get like, I don't know how many comments we get. Not a ton, but.
No, I haven't. I'll check that out, though. Is it like on a YouTube thing or something?
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. Samsonite. Oh, man. That is something that I use in everyday life.
Yeah, especially the he must work out thing. I do that every time. Like we look at something and like if there's a guy and a chick in the picture, I'll be like, yeah, he must work out.
It's fantastic.
We actually were going to talk about this. This was something in the back of our minds about talking about Birds of Prey. And an episode we recorded, we even mentioned that'll be in there, but we talked about briefly that from watching the trailers, and Shane and I both agree on this, that at least from our perspective and our taste in movies, it seems like Birds of Prey is not made for us.
Exactly.
And I think Shane had the greatest comparison. It seems like to me, it's drawing in the crowd that would like them, like Bridesmaids.
Yep.
Like, I think Shane, that was a great comparison because I didn't think Bridesmaids was funny at all. And I thought it was kind of a dumb movie, but I could see people watching that movie probably loving this movie. And that seems to be up the same road. His Black Mask, Ian McGregor is a great actor, and he's probably gonna kill it. The fact that he's just not in the Black Mask, it's just, and he's wearing the mask now, and it made me laugh so much because it just reminded me from The Mask when he puts the mask on. He's like,
maybe it doesn't work at daylight.
All right, you said he was the night god, and
yeah, for me, I don't know. Birds of Prey, we're obviously going to go see it, but
that's cool. And I would always jump for an R-rated movie, but it just looks so. And unfortunately, something I've realized watching this, because I don't remember her sounding like this so much, but I just do not like Margot Robbie's voice for it. It's really weird because a lot of these trailers have her narrating it, and every time she starts talking, she sounds like an old Jewish Boston lady. Like, and it just sounds weird. And then, like, I watched the Harley Quinn animated show.
Yes,
that's on DC. It's kind of got. I mean, obviously, it's not going to have the same storyline, but she broke up with Joker and stuff like that. She's trying to go on her own and stuff like that. And
that's what the trailer reminded me of, was when you're and I think also what
get
kind
a
of
crew together.
When you look at a movie like Bridesmaids, I can't remember. There was another one that came out in 2019. Forgive me, I don't remember what it's called, but there are these women movies, and there's men ones, like The Hangover is probably a good example. But when they have kind of all these different women, and they're trying to they have one common goal, and at first they don't really get along all that much, but then by the end of it they get along and they're best friends. The latest trailer reminded me of a mixture of the Harley Quinn show on the DC Universe app and Bridesmaids. And that's when I realized, oh shoot, this is another movie we are not the audience for. This is not meant for, unfortunately, really comic book fans, from what it seems like. It seems like they have a specific target audience, and they're going to incorporate some comic book elements to get us to go see it. But it's
Harley Quinn is probably the most comic book accurate character in that.
Yeah.
And then maybe Black Canary behind it.
Right.
Other than that, like Huntress, I'm sorry. That person looks terrible. She looks like she looks like Bear Grylls. Like and like she's got cargo pants on. I just think it looks like shit. I don't know. I just don't. She's using rubber bullets, and it's a rated R film, and she's a villain, and I'm just kind of confused by that. We
will. Just throwing that out there, we're definitely going to go see it.
Oh yeah, we'll go watch it. I'm going to have the most open mind possible. I hope.
Yeah.
The thing is, when I think something looks like shit, my perspective usually going in it is I always want to be proven wrong. Like when it came to, like, surprisingly, Ant-Man 2, I remember I told Shane I did not want to go see it. I was like, dude, let's just skip this one. And he kept pushing and pushing. And then he's like, we have to go see it. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go see it. And surprisingly, I kind of enjoyed that one. I know they kind of dumbed down Scott for that one. His character, he made him kind of stupid, but they made him more of a family man. And it actually made it look like he appreciated his daughter, unlike Civil War, where he went and did a fucking huge crime after he proposed so much in the first one that he wanted to be with his family. At least in the second one, he seemed like a real dad, and I kind of enjoyed those elements of it for the most part. So I always want to be proved wrong when it comes to movies like that. I usually go in very open-minded and try to like the movies that I think will look like shit.
In terms of, I don't know what the odds are that we'll see Zack's Justice League 2.
About 214%.
What my hope is that it does well, and whenever it's released on HBO Max or in theater, or whatever we end up getting, Blu-ray, digital service, whatever, it does well, and that makes the studio go, we can capitalize on this a little bit more, and then we get Zack's Justice League 2. My only concern is that depending on how the Snyder Cut is, I I don't know if it will lend itself to a Justice League 2 anymore. I don't know what his compromise was.
He might
if he
change some
plans
of
on
those.
changing. Exactly. I don't.
Again,
we
that could
don't
be
know
what the
any of that
delay
stuff.
is. Changing all those things. I mean, who knows? I mean, that's what I mean. People just need to be patient on stuff. And yeah, could he get his whole series filled out? Maybe. My biggest thing is that I just don't see Affleck coming back. He's older now, and he didn't like trying to get in that shape in the first place, and to do it for one or two more movie.
Man, these are on a roll today.
Everybody's got the guy. Everybody's got him. Can't believe David Ayer couldn't make a decent Suicide Squad film. The man is hardcore into the watch and fear. Yeah. I don't know how much you know about the Ayer cut or anything like that, Marcus. I don't know.
Bird. All right, sorry.
Mock. C.
Yeah.
C. That's my favorite. I do that at work all the time. Anyway, so I don't know how much you know about the Ayer cut, but I mean, it's it's a vastly probably better movie, and unfortunately, he didn't get that. So, time will tell. The success of the Snyder Cut, whenever it gets released, will probably be very telling whether WB wants to go down these routes of alternate cuts on HBO Max, if that's what they want to do. So that could be. I just looked at the comments. Everybody's.
Yeah, bird.
Yeah.
Oh, the other one I always use. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. No, Lloyd. One of my favorites. Oh, man. Oh, it's getting great. I like it. Fantastic.
Oh man, yeah. Dumb and Dumber. We got to do a watch along with that or something like that.
Oh, that would be fantastic. We don't even need to be drunk. It'd just be perfect.
Maybe Harley is a Jewish Bostonian. That is a good chance. Yeah, I could be. I might find that out later on. She's not born in Gotham. She was born in Boston.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't know why, but when I hear her start narrating, I'm like, God, she sounds so goofy. And I don't remember her sounding like that in Suicide Squad. And I watched some scenes, and she doesn't put that emphasis on the accent so thick in Suicide Squad. So this is like her choice now to start doing this. And I just, for some reason, I just don't like it. Hopefully in the movie, it'll be more tolerable than those voiceovers. But man, it made me not like her Harley Quinn listening to those voiceovers. It just got to me. Gas man, how the hell do they know I have?
Another great part. That's fantastic. Yeah, on the Suicide Squad note, something that I was thinking about in terms of Matt and I had talked about this, but I don't understand when you're WB or whoever it is, WWE with their network, Disney Plus, when everyone is scrounging up all of their content and they're also trying to release original content. And right now the DC universe is kind of floundering a little bit. They rarely update it. You get Titans and whatever else, some kind of original content, but I feel like, and hope maybe they'll do this on HBO Max, but I feel like that would be a fantastic way to release any alternate cuts of films, any additional scenes, behind the scenes stuff. And then something that Matt and I had talked about in the past is maybe making some animated movies based on some of the scripts that they have written that didn't get made. And right now, I guess that's another original thing that's getting put on the DC Universe app is some animated movies. But I really feel like that they should start incorporating some of the stuff that they have that's already been used, that they've paid for. And maybe it's the legality, I don't know. But I really feel like they should take that content and the additional scenes or whatever has been shot and put it out there for fans to see. And there you go. There's some of your original content. And that's what will make people want to go to your app and subscribe to it.
So Birds of Prey bombing. I mean, it's a rated R. It's a rated R movie. It's taking a chance on some unknown characters and stuff like that. I don't want it to bomb. I just want WB to get their head out of their ass. They can make a Harley Quinn movie like this and still make Man of Steel 2. That's the whole point of us talking about variety. you can do these, side gigs like this, these low budget rated R, Harley Quinn movies, but get your heads out of your asses and also fucking make a Man of Steel 2. That's what kind of excites me about Flash, because now they're finally getting the goddamn ball rolling on these main Justice League characters. Now we just need Cyborg, get another goddamn Man of Steel in there, and
Flash,
Cyborg,
we have
Green Lantern.
2.
Figure out what you're going to do with Green Lantern and stuff like that, and that would be nice.
I don't mind, absolutely having side movies like Birds of Prey or whatever they want to risk, but it seems like right now they are sticking to, we're going to redo Batman, and who knows if it's going to be a part of the same universe or not. I'm thinking no. They want to stick to their cash cow in Batman, and then that's where Harley Quinn comes into play. So let's stick with her as well, and anything safe. And that's why they do not want to do another Man of Steel, is because people aren't viewing it as safe. And it blows me away that that's what people want. And yet you're like, we're going to do Birds of Prey or Suicide Squad 2. I don't really give a shit. Give me something else. You can do those. That's fine. If that's what you want to do. If you want to have all these other characters and establish them and have some spinoffs that way. But, give me the fact that we are going to get a Shazam 2, a Wonder Woman 2, and an Aquaman 2 before a Man of Steel 2 is baffling.
Drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. So, Hardboiled, I have seen one picture. If you have another one or anything like that, send that us on Twitter. Because if you're talking about the one picture I saw, that is not a common accurate suit at all. It looked like a CW suit. It looked really bad. And that woman looked terrible in that thing. If it's that thing that you're talking about with the really crappy mask, and it's like her head is way too small for the mask, and it just sticks out. It's like a child wearing a full-size mask or something. It looked really bad. I thought it was shitty fan art, and then I kept seeing people saying, no, these are leaks, this is her comic accurate costume. I was like, holy crap. So if it's that one, nah, good luck. Harley and Man of Steel 2, there you go. What about that?
That's what Matt wants to see.
Ugh. Neck snapping.
All right. TV spot. Jumping back to this other one about Jared Leto's Joker. I absolutely do. I think maybe you get rid of the tattoos, but people crap all over that Joker.
There's a side movie, Jared Leto going to the tattoo removal center.
But I think that there's so much potential that's left out there that we have no idea. And to me, there are glimpses of promise in that Joker, and obviously some scenes that were in the trailers or in posters or whatever that we did not get to see. So there's something there, and it's so frustrating. I really think Jared Leto's Joker would be well appreciated had he been used. I'm assuming the way that they filmed it. Leto even said that there's so much work that we did that did not get used. And they used Joker the way that they did, and well,
apparently they're gonna have like a scene almost of that. It was like a test scene or a scene like that in Birds of Prey.
Yeah,
I mean that was one of the things. Okay, so going against Huntress, hey, I saw a picture of it. It looked terrible. It didn't look anything like Huntress. It looked really, really bad. And she's still wearing those cargo pants like she's in the 90s. I'm pretty sure those things have zippers at the knee, so you can make them shorts. The way they look, it looked ridiculous.
Hey, don't knock that. I'm waiting for that to come back.
I know.
And you know how fashion just recycles. Come on, bring back my zip-off pants.
What's up, Jose? Welcome to the stream, and we're gonna end it right now. I didn't really. Fuck, man! Every time we try to make a time limit, we do so terrible at it. Do you see what time it is?
Yes, I did.
Initially, guys, we're like, we're going to make this 45 minutes to 50 minutes, somewhere around there. Yeah. Hour and 13 minutes later.
Yeah, here we are, just blabbering on. I thought maybe a little bit shorter. People would want to rewatch this. They'll, okay, live stream that's, within reason. But there goes that out the window.
Looks like Discount Ripley. I would love her suit. I don't know, guys. I mean, but I'm not on we're not on Twitter. We're not making videos about it because we're not just gonna like shit on a movie by its trailer and stuff. I don't know, maybe we did that to a couple Marvel movies. I'm not sure. Thor, I think Thor Ragnarok was the only one we ever did that to. Where just by its trailers, we're like, what the fuck? This just looks like shit. And I remember that. But I mean, trailers never actually give you the story at this point. They always let you down. They either give too much away or they just don't really give you much at all. Because if you look at those Birds of Prey trailers, for the most part, they really both trailers that I've seen, they reuse the same scenes for the most part, or they're at least the scenes are somewhat continuations of the other ones that were in the other trailer. So you've seen the same spots over and over again, just, from different points or different looks like that. They're keeping it tight. So either the movie is only has a couple spots in it, and that's what we're seeing, or they're keeping a lot to themselves on this one and just kind of letting Margot Robbie's name and Harley Quinn carry it.
I can appreciate that in today's day and age where they pretty much give out everything. Yeah, I can appreciate that.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. It would be the only one I see once in theaters. I mean, it would have to be extremely good for me. I mean,
as was Aquaman. For me, that was one I only saw once in theaters.
That's true, actually. Forgot about that. And Shazam.
Yeah. Did I see Shazam? No, I think I did see Shazam just once.
But Shazam is a good movie.
Okay, I want to address this real quick. I don't think I've seen any other Taika Waititi film aside from Ragnarok. But from what I've gathered, Ragnarok is more of an MCU Kevin Feige hodgepodge than it is a Taika Waititi film. And I know apparently he is supposed to be great at intermixing comedy and real life, not threats, but what's the word I'm looking for? See, this is stuff you guys don't get to see, but real life struggles. And apparently he's supposed to be good at that kind of stuff, but I don't know. From what I saw with Thor Ragnarok, Matt, I don't know if you've seen any other Waititi film, but I haven't, and I wasn't impressed. And there's this strong following for him. And to me, it just was like, okay, so you pretty much did Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ragnarok was a good, to me, by the reaction you see from some of the actors. Ragnarok was a good thing of the inmates running the asylum, to me. Maybe not so much a Feige movie, but to me, that was like Chris Hemsworth just doing this thing where apparently he wants to be that type of character. He doesn't want to be serious, and he's stated that so many times. He was going to fight with the Russo brothers if they were going to try to make him serious after Ragnarok. He's like, we established this character, and this is what we're going to want. He wants to be a comical character. But apparently he's also the god of thunder. So it's just ridiculous. They should have made him more of a comical. And then even, what is it? Hulk, Mark Ruffalo. He even said that I felt like we destroyed the MCU. Like we destroyed continuity within the Thor. Like they understood it, but it was just so ad-libbed. Everything was ad-libbed. Things were just what the inmates wanted. And I don't even know how much of that is a Taika Waititi movie. I have no idea. I have never seen another one. I was interested in JoJo's Rabbit or whatever, the one where he plays Hitler. I thought that looked kind of fun, like a good take on things. So I was going to eventually try to see that whenever it was possible. But Thor Ragnarok is just it's a god awful movie, and it's really crappy ad lib. You can tell it's just done on the fly, and that was the best takes they had.
Yeah, and which I mean, you can appreciate, but I did not like.
It shouldn't have been called Thor Ragnarok. That was the other thing.
Yeah,
because if you look at the original poster, the original thing they did, it was a totally different take, and they had a different director on it. And then they already announced Thor Ragnarok, and they wanted to go this completely different route, and they wanted to go a completely different route, and they kept it as Ragnarok, and they shouldn't have. It was just really.
I just didn't like the fact that they changed Thor's character and Hulk's character to appease a child audience or whatever they were trying to do. when Matt and I had read Hulk,
Marcus, did you really think Ragnarok was funny, or are you just trying to piss me off? Like I'm not piss me off. That's being over dramatic. I'm just I'm just serious. Like, you didn't like when you saw some of those jokes in Ragnarok? You actually like when he's like wearing the disguise and she's like, but I can still see your face, and he just holds it over his face. No, you can't. Like, is that genuinely really funny at all to anybody? Well, other than 5-year-olds.
I will say one thing that I can appreciate, Marcus, is that you come on here and you're throwing out your opinion, and we appreciate that. And keep coming. There was one person.
No, that's fine. I'm just curious if he's a hardcore listener and just knows.
Do you remember on one of our live streams, there was one person who basically shit on Zack Snyder or didn't shit, just said, I didn't like BVS. And then everyone jumped on her. And they were like, don't you know this is a pro Snyder channel, blah, blah, blah. And I don't think I've seen her since. If she's still out there, good on you. Maybe she's not commenting, but I don't think I've seen her since. So please, if you actually enjoyed Ragnarok, we can all have a difference in opinion. I know our good friend Nick, he's a big Marvel fan, and he loved Ragnarok and does not mind with the liberties that they're taking on Thor and Hulk. Me, on the other hand, with Hulk, it pisses me off. Always was one of my favorite Marvel characters, and what they've done with him is just atrocious, and I freaking hate it. And it drives me absolutely bonkers. This is a possibility.
I don't think he is, because he was the one that asked the Rumble question earlier. I don't. I just think everybody has taste for different things.
Yep, absolutely.
So I just thought it was interesting. I don't know. I really find it difficult for people to defend Ragnarok. Like, I mean, you could think it's funny. Like, if you think it's funny, that's fine. But to think it's actually a good movie is what I find. Like, it's a comedy, and comedies in themselves don't have great structure because they're meant to be funny. Dumb and Dumber doesn't have the greatest fucking story.
No, right? but I would consider Dumb and Dumber a good movie, or Rush Hour. So if you want to look at it from that point,
Rush Hour maybe, but because that's a little more of a buddy cop movie, so you have more of a drama in it. But Dumb and Dumber has a terrible story. Don't even.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying good movie for the story. I just think, this is a fantastic movie. It makes me laugh a bunch.
It's a fantastic movie in the fact that it's funny, but the fact that in cinema and like storytelling and everything else, it's technically a shitty movie.
I don't think that's what
it doesn't have that type of structure.
We might have pissed Marcus off. Now I don't see him at all.
Oh shit!
Oh wait, there you. All right. Okay, fair enough.
Is it really have the balls? Here, let me click on that one. Oh,
I did as well.
Fucking
Stop clicking it. There we go. All right, we're good.
When you're in the same franchise as Guardians of the Galaxy, the first Avengers, and everything, is it really that far-fetched? I mean, it's not. It's just, to me, it was just more childish than the other ones. And yeah, there was some moments that we laughed. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna deny that I didn't laugh at some of the parts. I know the get help part, and then when Banner smacks against Rainbow Road, those two parts, I'm pretty sure Shane and I we were dying laughing. I'm not saying that it's a completely unfunny movie and that they were like we were stone faced through the whole thing, but it was very cringy at a lot of points. And I just think that a comic book movie called Ragnarok, which is supposed to be the end of time, end of the world.
It's Thor. It's freaking Thor.
And Thor. It just seems like if it was called Thor Love and Fucker or whatever, Love and Humor, this next one's got Love and Humor.
Fuckery. Yeah.
And that's, this one's called Love and Thunder. And if this has the same thing, then, I kind of go with it. But the fact that it was Ragnarok, that's supposed to be the end of times. It's the Norwegian end of times. It's just like, man, and it's supposed to set up this thing, they destroy his hammer, he loses an eye, and he gets all that back in Avengers. It just seems so pointless. And he lost his world, and then he started losing more of his people in Avengers. And
that was still alive.
somehow.
I prefer serious comic book movies, and I also prefer when some of the characters are taken
We're
more
not going to
serious.
ban the Marcus guy. No, no, he's
no,
fine.
we love this. And actually, someone early on, or a little bit earlier, said, "When are we going to bring Nick back?" And that's one of the things that we wanted Nick to come on, because we want other people's perspectives and their opinions on Matt.
But he's
and
slow. He still hasn't seen Wonder Woman.
I know,
He's
and
killing us.
he's so biased. But I guess to answer the question, and Nick he's gone through. He's been working a ton, fixing people, and also he went through some personal stuff. So we were gonna have him on, and we decided, you know what, let's give him a little bit of space. Hopefully, sometime in 2020, we'll have him back on. But that's to answer your question.
Yeah, we're hoping to. Eventually, this ball will get rolling again, and for the most part, on some things, we wanted to try to do more live streams, podcast type stuff, and our videos at the same time.
Yeah,
that's kind of the idea, and have those, especially those debates with like Nick and stuff about stuff. On that
note,
yeah, serious comic book movies. Funny, I can go back and forth. I like the first Guardians of the Galaxy. I just want variety. I can do the first Guardians of the Galaxy, but then I would like a Joker too.
Right.
And
don't do everything like the first Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what I didn't like about Ragnarok. You can have your Guardians of the Galaxy, and I agree. I enjoyed that when it came out, and then it was something that, then you have the second one. After a while, you're just kind of like, all right, if they're doing all their movies, you take away, if they do all the movies the same, you're taking away from what they initially had intended with Guardians of the Galaxy.
And they're different. Like, people don't remember these movies. Like, they just don't.
Exactly. And that's why Guardians of the Galaxy could be more memorable if, this is a comedy in the MCU, and then Ragnarok is a serious movie, or Civil War, or
and
whatever.
They tried every once in a while, like, because with like Winter Soldier, but then even with like Civil War, they just they overreached. The movie was just terrible. I mean, well, it's not. Civil War is better as it went up, but it just has some of its issues, and they still try to do the jokes for the most part. But it's just, I don't know. They just need to learn to let some things go sometimes. Let's be serious. Let's go back and forth. Variety. Yeah, bright and dark. I mean, yeah. It's pretty. You can always go back and forth. There's always a market for both. And it would just be, and that's always been my problem with the MCU. It's just felt like they've never really ventured too much. I mean, Winter Soldier is decent. The first Iron Man's BD before Disney, and even some of Endgame, even though it did jokey, but some of Endgame got somewhat serious. Mm-hmm. So it's there every once in a while, but they just have yeah, okay. I
sort of, but it depends on if you. I would commit to a tone in the one movie, not necessarily in all of them, and that's where we're getting this incoherent blend, as you said, is when you're trying to have jokes plus seriousness, and that's what I thought maybe with Doctor Strange 2, is that they would go, okay, now let's be over here, let's play in this ballpark for a little bit, and then we can come back over to the next Thor or whatever it's going to be. And, like Black Widow, that would be cool if it turned out, I'm assuming it's not going to be, but it'd be cool if it kind of turned out to be, maybe like a Mission Impossible, or, a movie kind of like that. Yeah.
And then the trailer showing her dive from like 50,000 feet or whatever.
Yeah.
No parachute. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. No, the Incredible Hulk, Norton's Hulk, is highly underrated. For me, it's Venom. What do you mean? Just curious what you mean by, for me, it's Venom.
Yep, Incredible Hulk. I would say it's definitely up there, top 3 for sure. I recently watched Winter Soldier again, and that's turning into be one of my favorites, aside from the actual Winter Soldier, what they do with Bucky eventually. But
oh, Jesus Christ. That's the other thing. It's just like so many characters are so. Like, I
Throwaway.
guess it's cool to focus on the three. You know, you got Thor, you got Iron Man, you got Captain America, so that's fine. But just like the relevancy of the other characters, just it's so sad. And that was the other thing with Thor Ragnarok, how they just axed everything that ever happened with him. You know, they killed everybody. His dad, his brother, or you know, all those friends, all those characters are just gone, and they just they wiped everything. So I get what they tried to do. It was a reset of Thor. It was trying to take it into a different direction, but it just to me wasn't executed very well. And I know that's usually the cry of the person that doesn't understand what the people are going for, because you hear that all the time about certain movies. Like, I like what they did, the idea is great, but the execution, it's just the execution. And I get it, but at the same time, it's just I guess then if you like Thor Ragnarok, that's all you, man. That's great. I can't ever watch that movie again.
Yeah, but we appreciate that type of back and forth, and it's always good fun.
I guess because story is what we focus on.
Yeah, that's what we prefer.
I guess that's a big thing to me. Story. Like we were just talking about with Dumb and Dumber. Like, it's got a terrible story, but but that's not the point of that movie. But when you're trying to have a cinematic universe, story does matter, and and especially when you're dealing with something like Ragnarok, consequences matter. And when everything, for the most part, is played for laughs and kind of useless, and then also gets buyed back completely in the next movie when it comes to Infinity War, it kind of makes it hard to take anything serious.
All right.
Okay, now I think you're trolling us. Now I think you're okay.
On that note, now that we're an hour and a half in,
yeah, I think now. I think now you're trolling us. But it was fun for the most part.
Yes. Always a fantastic discussion, for sure.
Have you guys seen Self-Defense? No, I haven't. Anyway, I think we need to wrap this up anyway, guys.
But this is awesome. 36 people. I actually started seeing a lot of newer names out there. So thank you guys for
that was the coolest thing.
Yeah, for jumping in. Obviously, the $40. Holy crap, that's freaking awesome. We really appreciate that. That goes a long way. We've been talking a lot about our Patreon. Just trying to get a little bit more contribution. YouTube is so hard to navigate. Yes. YouTube is so hard to navigate and really get our videos out there. Some of them hit well, other ones don't. And so Patreon is, if you really enjoy our content and you want to keep us going and keep the quality there, that really helps. So we really appreciate that.
Yeah,
$42. Yes.
Thank you.
I apologize. Yeah,
yes,
$42.
Dana Steele earlier gave us $2.
Yeah. We
thank you, Dan.
Every little bit helps. We greatly appreciate.
No, you guys have no idea how much it helps.
and Marcus, thank you. Cheers to you as well. And I honestly enjoy if we can get more people on in the comments, throwing some things out there, dragging on our live stream for an hour and a half with debates and trolling and stuff. It's fantastic.
There's a reason why, man.
Yeah.
There we go.
Exactly.
Martin Scorsese, son. Yeah, go watch The Gentleman, guys. Go support that movie. Go support Guy Ritchie.
It started out as a crisis, and then we realized, we can't fill time talking about this terrible vibe.
I'm surprised we got it as far as we did.
Yeah,
because I was after watching the last episode, I was done.
Yeah,
I didn't even want to talk about it. It was just so bad. Hey, we try, but sometimes these streams always become an all-encompassing thing. Everybody, it becomes everything. Fuck you, Fairy Firestorm. Oh, the 42. Oh, God damn it.
Oh, man. Fantastic. Well, thank you guys. Really appreciate it. If you want to contribute, Patreon is the way to do it.
Yeah. Help us out there, man. Anything. $1. I think you could do dollars. I'm not sure how exactly it works, but anything small, anything that can help us, guys. And our Patreons right now, we have 4, and 2 of them are in the chat right now with Shadow Vessel and Jose M. They'll be receiving fairly soon, in probably about 2 weeks or so, Comic Movie Mark coffee mugs. And you can put whatever you want in here. Anything goes in these cups.
Yep. Whiskey, beer. They're pretty sweet quality.
So, and then, you know, we do try to do stuff for the patrons. You know, maybe sometime down the road, patrons will probably get.
Yes. Pillows indeed.
Exactly. So, and any other things we can find laying around that we can send. So,
exactly. The Wigan logo.
Yeah. So thanks, guys, for the streams. Thank you guys for the great conversation. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you, Fury. Thank you, Shadow Vessel, Jose, Hardboil Entertainment. Must investigate further. There we go. Whew. In case I don't see you.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.